You know what time it is. It's Monday, so it's time to make our matchmaking video for Vegas 99. Now, the rest of the content coming out this week will be UFC 308 related. Really good card this week, but definitely wanted to give you guys the matchmaking video this week, or at least today, so that way we can get to 308 quicker. And I'm not going to drag it on for too long. There aren't a ton of fights on this because, candidly, I don't think this card was worthy of having everyone matchmake. I just think it was a shit card, if I'm being honest. So, but we're gonna matchmake the people that I really wanted to matchmake, that I felt deserved it, and then I'd be interested in seeing what happens in the future. So these are the fighters that we have all matchmade and that I have matchmade. But we're just gonna get right into it. First fight of the night here. Wasn't first fight of the night. We're moving all the way up the card to Gene Matsumoto. Now, I didn't match Brad Katona, even though he did look good. I'm thinking he's looking probably in a similar spot in the rankings where he was looking last time. Maybe like an easy Ricky Turcios fight or something like that. Let's get Brad Katona a win. But I'm gonna start with Gene Matsumoto. Did go to war with Brad Katona, and I'd like to see him fight Brady Highstand, the guy that pulled out of this fight. Listen, I understand that Gene Matsumoto took some damage. From my understanding, Brady Highstand was just not able to make the fight. I don't know if it was, I think it was hurricane related they were talking about or something like that. He may be able to turn around quicker, but I'd like to see Gene Matsumoto versus Brady Highstand in this matchup. I think it'd be very competitive. I think that Gene Matsumoto has a decent chance here. I think Brady Highstand's a little bit more skilled than he gets credit for, even from me. Would be very interested in seeing this fight. And listen, Gene Matsumoto is young in his career, but so I want to see him turn around, have a couple of these fights, and get that octagon experience. Same with Brady Highstand. Let's have this one done in February. It's the middle of October right now. I know you went to war. You take 3.5, 4 months off, and you fight at the end of February. I think it's a good matchup to make. Do it on the fight night prelims. I think it's a pretty good card. A pretty good fight for a card. Moving on. Asu Almabayev. We're going to skip. Asu Almabayev is a more competitive matchup. Jake Hadley we're going to skip to here. Think he looked fucking awful, if I'm being honest. I think that he literally just throws a jab, an inside low kick, and the two behind it very occasionally. He backs up the whole time. Listen, Jake Hadley's like do or die in the UFC right now. One more loss and I think he gets cut if he doesn't get cut already. So maybe give him an easier matchup of Vince Morales. Vince Morales just lost to Taylor Lapulus in a pretty clear decision. But Taylor Lapulus does have some skill, and he's more talented than Jake Hadley, even though he fights in the Jake Hadley's style. I'd like to see if Jake Hadley can get a win here, or if Vince Morales really does deserve to stay in the UFC as well. So Vince Morales, Jake Hadley's the matchup to make here. I'm thinking again February, March. Let's look at this time frame. Get these guys turned around to fight. They're young ish. Yeah, I'd like to see them fight sooner or later so we can find out who actually deserves to be here in the UFC. Personally, I don't think Jake Hadley deserves it anymore. I'm just sick of the guy. But that's just me here. Moving on, Cameron Smotherman. I promise we'll get to Asu Almabayev next. I just think his matchup's more entertaining than these other ones, so I'd like to have this one done later than the Cameron Smotherman matchup. Listen, Cody Haddon coming off a Contender Series submission, coming off a decision win on the UFC Apex card 2 weeks ago. I think actually it was last weekend. Who the fuck fought on them? Oh, it was Tatsuro Taira and Brandon Royval on that card. Listen, Cody Haddon looks good. Cameron Smotherman just had a pretty good looking performance here, even though Jake Hadley made it fucking easy on him. This is the matchup that I'd like to see done at bantamweight. Cameron Smotherman, I don't know if he's going to go down and fight at flyweight at all, but listen, Haddon versus Smotherman, I think it's a good matchup to win. Both coming off wins recently in the UFC. Both guys have fought in the Contender Series before that. Similar spots in the rankings. Let's just see who's better. Now we get to Asu Almabayev. Not impressive of a performance over Mateusz Nicolau, but he is going to move up the rankings because he won. Listen, if this guy wants to grapple, I say we give him someone that is very good at grappling. Someone very good at grappling to see how Asu Almabayev does against another really good grappler. And that's Tatsuro Taira. Tatsuro Taira has been rocketed up the rankings very fast. He had one ranked win before he fought Brandon Royval and went to war with him, but he did get kind of beat up in that fight, and that was against Alex Perez. He got the Sheares fight, he had one more fight, I think, after that, and then he got rocketed right up to Perez. So, let's see how he does against Asu Almabayev, a guy that's, his strength is grappling, it's not in the striking. Listen, I think Taira needs a little bit of time off, but he's going to have to fight, close to his spot or down in the rank. He's going to have to fight down in the rankings a little bit here. Asu Almabayev is going to be looking up. They're on similar schedules. Listen, I know Asu Almabayev didn't take much damage, but I'm willing to bet he can take, 5 or so months off and wait for Taylor to be ready, 6 months off. I think if you did this as, the co-main event, or, some main card fight in March of a fight night, I think it's a good one to make, good matchup to make. Maybe Tyron needs a little bit more time, and at that point, maybe you match up Almabayev with someone different. But I do think that a Almabayev versus Tatsuro Taira matchup would be very, very interesting. Two very good grapplers. Let's just see how it works out here. And I think if you're looking at a March time frame for a fight night on the main card, it's good. I think if you put it as the prelim headline or pay-per-view, it's pretty good too. Let's make that fight happen. Sumaderji, impressed. Very much so. I thought he looked a lot better than he has in recent fights, even though I do rank Sumaderji, other than his grappling until this fight. I still ranked him pretty highly. I like his striking. I like his range. I like the way he snipes from the outside. Listen, let's see him fight Azat Maxim. Azat Maxim's a 17-1 Kazakhstani fighter that, people think he's this grappler, but he is a long-rangey striker. He likes to use his teep kicks. He likes to use his jab. And Sumaderji's another guy that's a long-rangey striker. Would love to see these two duke it out. Neither of them are in the rankings. Whoever wins this fight can start looking closer to those rankings again. Azat Maxim's coming off a loss to Charles Johnson. Sumaderji's coming off a loss to Charles Johnson. I think it makes all the sense in the world. You look at this fight around the March timeframe, Sumaderji did take some damage, and I know he doesn't fight overly frequently, but I'm sure he's going to want to turn around at least within 6 months. So Sumaderji, Azat Maxim, I think it's a good fight to make. Two strikers, they're going to go at it. March, fight night, prelims, make it happen. Moving on. Charles Energy Johnson has been balling. He's on a 4-fight win streak here. I think he deserved a ranked opponent last time. Now he definitely does, and it's Mateusz Nicolau. Mateusz Nicolau coming off a loss to Asu Almabayev, where he got out-grappled. I think Charles Johnson's one of those guys that can grapple if he wants, but he's not going to make this a grappling fight. I bet he brings it to Mateusz Nicolau in the feet, and we get to see a fight that's standing and striking. Mateusz Nicolau is the kind of guy that doesn't like to throw a ton of volume, likes to really select his shots. I think Charles Johnson will make him get into a real fight. It'd be interesting to see how it goes. Mateusz Nicolau coming off a loss to Asu Almabayev, who was ranked 14. He's going to have to look at the lower end or just outside the rankings. Charles Johnson, in my opinion, is ranked number 15 at lightweight. I believe he's better than some of these guys in there. Like, he's better than Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell just retired, and I don't know why Matt Schnell's ranked 15. Rankings video will also come out because there are some implications this week. So I guess I lied. This isn't the last Vegas 99, but I'll make a quick rankings one for you, and I'll probably get it out today, too, just to make sure we get it out for you. Charles Johnson, Mateusz Nicolau, number 14th or 12th ranked at this point versus a guy outside the rankings who should be ranked number 15. I think it's a good fight to make, and Charles Johnson's crazy active. Listen, I'm okay with him taking Christmas off with his family, spending some time with his family. He's been super active, got 4 wins in 2024, absolute beast. Let's see him come back around the March timeframe as well. Gets to start training in the middle of January all the way up to this fight. This is a good one to make. Charles Johnson, Mateusz Nicolau, do this on a fight night on the main card in March. Think it's a good time frame for them. Moving on, Kyler Phillips looked terrible in his performance, and he has a cardio problem. Listen, I heard Guru say that he didn't really have these crazy cardio problems unless he really goes for it. He's had them in every fight I've seen. Listen, the Pedro Munoz fight, we would have seen it tenfold if Pedro Munoz actually wanted to throw a strike in the latter half of the rounds. Think Kyler Phillips is overrated. Think he's always been a little bit overrated. But listen, he's still ranked here. He lost to Rob Font. He's probably going to keep his 12-13 spot. I think it's time for the J-Mart fight. Listen, to me, he should fight the winner of Marcus McGee versus Jonathan Martinez, and I really do feel strongly that Jonathan Martinez is going to beat up on Marcus McGee. I think he's going to land a lot of those low kicks early, a lot of them fast. I think there is some power coming back from him with Marcus McGee, but I think he's game. I think he times knees really well, so I do think Jonathan Martinez will get it done. But him versus Kyler Phillips, that's a really good fight. Two guys that are going to strike the whole time. Listen, Kyler might shoot, but Jonathan Martinez has some pretty good initial takedown defense, so we'll see how that works out. But I think Jonathan Martinez versus Kyler Phillips is the matchup to make. You're going to be looking at the number 12th ranked versus the number 15th ranked. This is the one to go. Do this on the main card of a fight night or the prelim headliner of a pay-per-view sometime in the February. Listen, I got to stop saying listen because I know you're listening. And you'll probably, I don't like telling people to listen a lot because it just feels wrong. But listen. Jonathan Martinez is going to be fighting in November, middle of November. he's going to need a little bit of time. I'd say we're probably looking at another March time frame here. Do this on the main card of a fight night. Do this on the as the prelim headliner of a pay-per-view, as long as you're making, good pay-per-views, UFC, please. And I think it's the right time to look at it. UFC 313 prelim headliner would be great. 314, same thing, sometime in March. And let's just move on to Rob Font, because this is where it's going to get pretty interesting. Rob Font, big win over Kyler Phillips. There was a number of different people that I was going to match him up with, but the one that makes the most sense to me, because they're next to each other in the rankings, and this person doesn't deserve a jump up here in the rankings because they had such a shit fight last time, it's Mario Batista. Listen, Rob Font, Mario Batista, again with the listen. It's the fight to make. They're both coming off wins recently. They're at similar spots in the rankings. There is nothing that Mario Batista has done in his most recent performance to deserve a jump up in the rankings. He got the Aldo fight after a win over Ricky Simone. Join the fucking club, buddy. And now he got the Aldo fight, which he lost in a lot of people's opinions, or stalled out the third round to a shitty judge's decision. So, listen, you don't get rewarded with that. You're going to take a fight against Rob Font, who's looking better in the takedown defense, and is going to bring it to you. Rob Font does deserve a fight in a similar spot with a relative name. Rob Font, Mario Batista haven't fought yet. This is the fight to make. And listen, I'm so sorry I keep doing it. I don't know why. It's like my fucking word of the day. Pissing me off. Sorry, guys. Rob Font, Mario Batista. Make this a co-main event of a fight night, feature fight of a fight night sometime in February. I think both guys are ready for a quick turnaround. Rob Font didn't take a ton of damage against Kyler Phillips because he's a pussy and fights like Mario Batista. And Mario Batista took some damage from Aldo, but fuck him. Turn around and fight again, you rat bitch. We're moving on to the main event because I'm sick of talking about Mario Batista. I'm sick of looking at his ugly face. Look at this ugly fuck. Gray, bland, stupid. Michel Pereira lost. I think it's time for him to defend his ranking spot. He got to jump in, and he got his chance against Anthony Hernandez. Didn't prepare. You're getting punished for it. And I said this last week. I said the loser of the Pereira versus Hernandez fight should fight Jung Young Park for a ranking spot. And I think this is a good fight to make. Michel Pereira, Jung Young Park, March, feature fight of a fight night. Sorry guys, my brain is short fucking circuiting today. Make it happen. This is one that, listen, it's going to be either a Jung Young Park masterclass or a crazy knockout from Michel Pereira. This will be a fun fight. And we're going to move on to the winner of the main event. Listen, I could have thrown in Brendan Allen. I could have thrown in Marvin Vettori. I think they're going to fight each other. I could have thrown in Rob Whittaker. I could have thrown in Hamzat, but I don't think either of them are getting a Hernandez fight after this. I think they're going to stay roughly in their spots. I could have done Paulo Costa. I could have done Roman Dolidze. I think they should fight each other. So that leaves me with a Jack Hermansson fight. Jack Hermansson hasn't fought in a bit, since February when he beat Joe Pyfer. Take a fight against Anthony Hernandez. If you win that, then you got to start making... Listen, you're in the top 10. If you win that, you held down your spot twice in a row, that's when you get the top 5 fight. You get to fight. If you beat Anthony Hernandez, that's when you get to fight a guy like the loser of Chimaev versus Whittaker, the Nasruddin Imavov versus Caio Borralho or Israel Adesanya, like those guys. You get to fight those guys when you come off another big win. This is a good fight. I think you make it a main event again. I think you do Hermansson, Hernandez, main event of a fight night sometime in March. Great fight to make to see who wins and deserves their jump up in the top 5. This is the UFC Vegas 99 matchmaking video. Hope you enjoyed it. Rankings coming out shortly as well, so stay tuned for those. But after that, it's all UFC 308. Make sure you're tuning in. So excited for that card.